Let's delve into the detailed process of painting various pieces of kitchen furniture. First of all, we will close the top of the roof, which in this case was open. To do this, we will cut the necessary pieces into wooden boards. To be able to fit the part of, we'll make some supports upstairs, squared with pieces of wood. Here they are nailed, but they can also be screwed. We meticulously cut the essential pieces in English to insert as required. And once we have them, together we putty them, unions, stop, lay to sand and make them look good. Here we see a small detail. How's it going? This section indeed required some additional sanding work, but hey, more or less the roof has stayed tightly closed. Next, we will proceed by using Bodyman's tape. We'll cover all areas that don't. We want to stain with paint. The hinges come off so you can paint and above all be able to clean them well. It costs a little bit because they are doors that have been in place for a long time and the hinges fit together, and then it costs a little bit to remove sometimes. We help each other with a screwdriver.
And outside?
What the pullers are, some carry small screws, which there is no major problem in removing. But there have been other doors with tiny nails on them, and these have been a little more complicated. Thus, when you are carefully prying with the screwdriver, is the wood damaged a little? But hey, then it crumbles and nothing happens.
Here, for example, there was
Nails and it was difficult to remove. The next step is enough. Entertaining, not complicated, but it cleans very, very well with acetone. This serves two purposes. Make sure to thoroughly degrease the doors.
for what?
Then it grips the paint very well, and another purpose, which is to clean.
Because especially when taking out the doors,
In the darker areas there are spots that are not visible, and with acetone they come out fine. For nooks and crannies,
I helped myself with this brush, old, which was very long.
and then I decided to trim the hair so I could do more.
Strengthen what are the areas of union?
Which was harder to clean. We'll give acetone in all of them.
Plus,
The doors, when wiped with a cotton rag, reveal the condition of the rag.
then it comes out stained, but hey, right?
Many more things are needed. The only thing that is entertaining. Here is a small detail of a hard old stain and how acetone removes it. You must rub it quite a bit indeed, but eventually it softens and comes out. Next is sanding.
Where we have removed the shooters, there are little holes.
And there is damage too.
Using the screwdriver to pry it open. Well, it is sanded and it's putty.
And once we have it putty, it comes with the sander again to make it look good. Important to pass acetone again to remove the dust from the sanding. With the drawers, we do the same thing. We putty because where the shooter came from, because obviously there are small holes and there is damage from leveraging. And once we have them well putted and the putty is dry, we apply sandpaper. It can be done with electricity, but I couldn't fit here, so I made it manual. Once we check that it is already well sanded, we clean the dust from the sandpaper with acetone so that the paint will then grip well. Once we have the furniture cleaned, we can start painting. With a palette, we start with the areas of corners where it cannot be accessed with a roller. And we do everything we can with Palatina first. Once we have already done the areas of corners and everything, we can start with them. Roller over flat areas. Well, the roller will help us go much faster. Drying times between layer and layer are very important, and in this case was over 6 hours. Here we see a close-up of how it looks with the first layer. It is important to give several layers so that it looks good. In this case we made 3 layers so that it looks good. We apply the same technique with the drawers, starting with the corner areas first. And the same drying times lengthen the process quite a bit. After the paint has dried properly, we place a sacrificial piece underneath to prevent any damage to the wood. Once the drill exits, we proceed to create the necessary holes for installing the shooters. The process is simple. It is to make small holes, and they are put on with threaded screws. Is the same done for the drawers? Once we have it on, the shooters and the little palmitos is, say, the shooters of the doors and drawers. We proceed to place the doors in the reverse order to how we did it. We attach the hinges, secure them with screws, and occasionally you might need to tighten them slightly. Here we observe the procedure in fast motion. I carefully use a cushioned hammer to assist the hinges, ensuring they remain undamaged. And here we already have the drawers ready and we place them.
We purchased the timber at a local center.
DIY, and if they can already be cut.
And we painted them.
This is to close the lowest section needs a replacement.
The sockets there were.
That they were pretty bad.
So how do we already have the reference?
Of what he had put on.
We mark and place. If we did not have a reference, then it is nothing to take the measurements of the legs. And the staples that are going to join are put on. Here we see the staple ready.
This is the anti-humidity that you put on between the plinth and the floor.
It is highly recommended to use the handsaw for cutting, since my attempt with scissors resulted in bending, thus making the handsaw the optimal choice. There's no more mystery, see? Put it on. There are several width measurements to choose from. and I chose the one closest to the wood.
You put it under pressure and that's it.
And here we already have once.
The staples on. That here they are, seen a little? Simply as we have already taken the measure, we have put them well.
Well, let them fit with the pause and little else.
Here we see a small detail of
How is the downstairs plinth?
here are the products where we have utilized acetone along with their respective prices.
In the anti-humidity.
A few small trays for paint.
That this is cheap?
The woods that have given us cut.
The paint is slightly more like a veneer. It is what makes it the most expensive, and I also needed 2 bottles. They were almost $80.
The rollers aren't cheap, but hey, it's affordable.
The handles on the drawer. We bought them, in this case from Amazon.
After much searching. There are door pullers available here.
And the overall total price amounts to $187.
Here is a detail of the result.
I sincerely hope you really liked it. Do you want to ask me something? Can you do it in the comments?
And I encourage you to subscribe to the channel.
Greetings and see you in the next video.